Hey guys, haven't put anything up for a little while, so I thought I'd show something new using the same basic chords that we've seen before, but maybe adding a little variation and a little bit of a four note chord. Um, this is a song 10,000 Reasons or Bless the Lord, some people call it, by Matt Redman. It is in the key of G, and I'm going to use a few chords I'll just show you real quick. A regular standard C chord right here would work fine for this. You could certainly use it. I kind of like C second. It adds this D note right here, which is the second tone of the C major scale, and because it's up on the high end, and I don't know if I know the theory behind this or not. Some people refer to that chord as a C ninth because it's adding a tone that's above like the highest C in the thing. Um, I think that's a reason. I'd actually have to look that up. You can verify it. Along with that, you can simply take your first and second fingers up into the normal position here for the G note and the B note down on the fifth string from the bottom, frets 2 and 3. And this is kind of an easy shift between those two, and having the D note carry over through both chords adds kind of a nice ring to it that I like. On the topic of carrying a note from one chord to another, this song has in it a couple examples of what are called suspended chords, which is one of the reasons I picked that to put it up right now. Um, if you either go on the internet or go on Facebook and find the chord sheet that I put up, you're going to notice that near the end of the verse, there is something written that says D sus 4 D. Now you could look on the internet and figure out what the origin of suspended chords or sus chords, as they're abbreviated in a lot of chord charts. It essentially seems to have come in the past from, like, if you're playing, say, a G chord, and then you want to sort of carry the G tone over into the next chord, and then it almost seems like it originated from a transitional thing going from one chord to another. Now, in modern guitar usage, it kind of appears that it doesn't really have to reference anything that came before or after. You can just play a sus chord at various places, and they do often, however, still resolve back to the normal root third fifth major chord. So let me just show you real quick what I'm talking about here. The D sus chord, sus chords typically will include the fourth tone of a scale. So if you say this D right here on string 4, if you play four tones in the major scale, so D and then a whole step, half step, that gets you to actually this G note here if you want to come down to the third string to hit it, or you could pick it up here. In fact, you can probably see that that actually is the fourth note of the scale. Let me play it real quick. Here's 1, 2, 3. Oh, skipped it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That G note, if you do a major scale in G major, you will find that that is the fourth note. So what we try to do in a suspended chord is we try to add that to the chord. In this particular case, the way I'm playing it, this is your standard D chord. Um, these two fingers here split on the first and the third strings. Your ring finger is picking up a D note right there on the second string. Now, there is a way to play this chord reaching up here with your pinky to get an F sharp, which is a part of that chord. Actually, I'm playing it right here also. Um, but we're going to kind of let the F sharp be expendable here. And this D note, or G note, I'm sorry, on the first string, right here on fret 3, is going to get added to this chord. You've heard this a ton in different songs. And then the term there is it resolves. Um, so I pull my pinky off of right there where I'm playing that G note. You can hear that high G there. And then it drops back to the F sharp, which is normally a part of the G major chord. In fact, it's the third. So the other example of this that's in this song is a G sus chord. So you get used to this after a while, but the fourth tone, if you want to trace it out, we could actually do it on this G string, which is third string up right here, and just kind of do the same procedure. Here's your G root, A, B, right there. That is a C note. So that is the fourth note of G major scale. If you need to go back and look at that video, do so. But one of the easiest ways to play a G sus chord is to, if we're going to pick up a C note, we can do it. There's a B note right here on string 2. And at its expense, we can pick up a C right here with our first finger. So earlier I was playing G chord like this. Might actually be considered a G fifth because of the D note in it, but it has that extra D note right there. If I go back to what a lot of the beginner books often teach, which is, I'll move this one out of the road for a minute, is to use these 3 fingers, your first and second finger, to get these notes up on string 5 and string 6, and then tucking your pinky in here to get that G note on the first string. If I want to pick up that C note, that's the fourth in the suspended chord, I can get it right here, just like I would be putting it down for a C chord. You can hear the similarity to the D sus D. So sus chords have that very distinctive sound that you've heard in a lot of songs. And there are a couple. D sus, which basically needs 4 fingers here, and will normally resolve to a normal D chord. And then if you can play your G chord in this way, it frees this dude up to pick up the fourth. And if you want to play a little bit as a teaching exercise, you could do things like, okay, here's an E chord. What would I have to modify in that chord to include a fourth? And you'd have to go through what is a fourth of an E major scale, where are these notes. It's just a good learning exercise for you, maybe in first position, to take some of the common chord shapes. And like C, how would you play a C one? So I'll leave that for you to figure out. If you have any questions, you can feel free to message me and I'll try to help you out. I'm going to run through this song. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play through it here real quick, and then I'm going to stop this video and re-record it in a fresh video so that you can have it to practice with, if that would be something you'd like to do. So the intro that I'll play on the video will just be the first line. It starts with that C and then goes to a G. It plays a D over F sharp, which has an F sharp in the bass. I think maybe I showed you how to do this once before, but you can wrap your thumb around actually. Get that F sharp, gives that D chord a very distinctive sound by putting the F sharp in the bass. And then your standard E minor. The only other chords that are in it, right at the end of the verse, there's a little turn that has a C over G. So if you think of your regular C, and if you pick this finger up, put it on top, and then use your pinky to fulfill this roll right here on the 5th string 3rd fret to get that C note. Hear that extra G in it? That's a C over a G, so that's a slash chord. And then what it does is it goes between that chord and, I like to play this G like this. So that'll take a little getting used to, but that's basically the little turn at the end of the verses. or I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's at the end of the chorus is where that occurs. At the end of the verses, actually, you're going to hear a. I'd have to sing it to get the thing on that. When the evening comes, and that's where the D sus resolving to a D and the G sus resolving to a G actually adds that little feel that you get from sus chords there, that very distinctive little turn. And throughout the rest of the song, everything else is C's and D's and E minors and everything. It is in the key of G. This would be a song, of course, that could be capoed, but I'll be honest, this is the key, I think, possibly, that Matt Redman does it in, and it does not need to be any higher. In fact, when I get ready to stop the video and jump in on this song, you're going to see that by playing through the intro, you almost have to get kind of the words in your head a little bit and get where you're going, because it does start at kind of a high spot in the key of G. Bless Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. So that's the first line of the deal, just to give you a feel and something you can practice. I also, just looking at it there, failed to notice that the chorus also uses the D sus4 to resolving to a D at the end of the second line, actually, right there. Let me just go ahead and sing that little part so you can kind of hear it. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. There was that D sus4 going to a D, and once again, you'll really get used to that very distinctive sound. So I'm going to stop this video, and you can maybe play around a little bit with the G sus chord and the D sus. In fact, you could play around like that, just going back and forth between the two. That's going to be real awkward at first because you're modifying a couple chord shapes that you've learned before, and it will take a minute for you to kind of get used to what needs to happen there. But after you get them down, they're very natural and they feel just as easy as any other chord. And they can really add a nice dimension to worship music in turns and at the ends of phrases and things are where they're often used. So I'm going to put this one up, and then I'm going to actually post a run through so you can practice with this song.